What's up guys, welcome back. Today let's review a car that's a little bit more common and a little bit more well known. Now this so far is the last ever 328i ever produced by BMW. From the beginning of 2016, you don't get a 328 anymore, it's been called a 330. Now this 328 is a little bit special because it's the last one and for a little bit more reasons. Let's talk about those reasons.
Things we feel calling forever, for every passing moment left. I need an angel to save me from
Did you hear that? I hope you did. Rewind it and play it again if you didn't. Now I said that this 328i was special. Now special can mean good or it can mean bad, and in this case it kind of means both. Now this 328i is the first ever one to feature an engine that is not the 6-cylinder. It has a 4-cylinder 2-liter turbocharged engine. It produces a good 180 kilowatts or 240 horsepower and 350 newton meters of torque. Now those numbers are pretty good. In the automatic version, which is this one here, it propels the car, well it claims that it propels the car from 0 to 100 in 5.9 seconds. In the manual version, it's claimed more at around 5.7 seconds. And the top speed in both is limited to 250 kilometers an hour. Now those numbers are pretty good. The car really does feel fast with that turbo push. Let's see what the acceleration looks like on this car. But firstly, we've got to put it in sport mode. Press that button over there. It goes into sport mode. Ooh, felt that immediately. Now let's see what this car can do. The gearbox is bloody fantastic, I have to say. I'm pretty sure it's the normal ZF8 speed that most of the car manufacturers are using nowadays. But it is a bloody good gearbox. It really makes you think that you don't need a double clutch because the shifts are so fast indeed. Now the F30 BMW 3 Series has electric power steering as opposed to the hydraulic power steering in the previous cars. Now for those purists out there, you might think that, well, electronic power steering is for sissies. It's not as hard, it's not as direct, it doesn't give as much feedback. Now that's true, it doesn't. I daily drove two E90 BMW 335i's for a long time and I really like that steering. But the new steering, I gotta say I like it more. It does give good feedback, not as good as the hydraulic ones, but you really don't miss it. The steering is a lot lighter in town, I must say that. But the steering is really good enough. You don't really need more than that. Now the steering wheel fitted to this particular 328i is not the M-Spec one, it's pretty much the base one. It doesn't even have paddle shifters. Now when I looked at it first, I found it to be pretty ugly and I still do. Now the rim around the steering wheel is a little bit thin and I thought where you rest your thumbs when you're driving a bit more spiritedly would be a little bit low and feel a little bit more boring, but I was wrong. It rests a little bit below 9 and 3, which actually feels better when you're driving fast. So the steering and the gearbox, I'm happy with, definitely. Let's talk about the interior of this car. Once you step into the inside, you are greeted by pretty good quality materials. The plastics, obviously plastics, they are pretty good quality. You got a little bit of metal around the gear lever there at the bottom and on the gear lever itself. If we look down here, we've got the iDrive controller with the direct buttons of the menus. Coming a little bit more up, we have the air conditioning, temperature control, etc. And a little bit more up, we've got a shuttle for our CDs and all the other stuff. And a little bit higher, we've got the navigation screen. Well, this car doesn't have navigation, but it's a screen nonetheless. And again, it's the base one. If you pay more money, you can get a bigger one. You see where those black things are right there? Yeah, the screen fills up right to there on the bigger one. So interior, I like it. I think it looks pretty good, pretty boring. BMW really need a refreshment in their interiors. The seats are pretty comfortable, they're well bolstered and they feel nice and soft when you're driving and they support you really well. Let's talk about the rear space in this car. You know what? It's quite comfortable back here. In front of me I've got this little net where you can put things into. Over here we've got a, oh, that's missing. We've got a cigarette lighter with the air conditioning and the heater. Now we pull this guy over here down. We've got our armrest, and then if you open him up here, got two reasonably small cup holders, which is nothing new because BMW are known for having disappointing cup holders. On the sides we have a nice place to put more things inside of. The door handles are covered in wood, which makes them look really good. We've got our window switch, normal door handle, and place to rest your arm. Other than that, it's pretty good. Leg space is adequate, headroom is adequate. I'm happy with it, it's comfortable. So overall, the rear space, pretty good. Even the trunk, BMW 3 Series, pretty much everyone knows how the trunk looks, but this is how it looks. And it is adequate. 3 Series are really good driving cars, and they are really practical cars as well. Let's talk a little bit more about performance. Let's roll down the windows actually so you can hear that glorious 4-cylinder sound, and press it flat. Now from a performance standpoint, you really don't miss that 6-cylinder in the 328i. From a sound point, you miss it so much. This car actually sounds like, you know, when you do something wrong or you fail at school or something and your mom's disappointed in you. That's how this car sounds when you start it up. It sounds like the disappointment of a mother, which is sad, very sad indeed. Let's talk a little bit about the exterior of the F30. Now, personally, I really like the F30. I thought it was a big step over the E90 when it came out. Many people criticize the F30's front end for looking like they took an E90, pinched the nose out a little bit, and then dropped something on its face, so it got a bit squeezed. But I like it quite a lot actually. I love the LEDs inside that, which are not standard. Everything is extra pretty much. But anyway, the LEDs, I think they look really nice in that white color. I like the front end. I like the rear end as well. The wheels on this car are slightly upgraded. They're a little bit thicker spokes, which I think looks good again. The white exterior with the black interior is pretty much normal. Doesn't really make the car look any different. But how can you tell a 328i apart from any other 3 Series? Well, you can't, because they don't want you to, because if you can't tell one apart, you might think that guy drives a 328i. He couldn't afford a 335, and then you just feel heart sore for him. But actually, there is pretty much two ways to tell that it is a 328i. The first thing is obviously the badge. It says 328i. And the next thing are the exhausts. On the normal BMWs, the 320s, 318s, etc., they come with one exhaust on the left hand side. This car comes with two. Now the 335 or 340 now comes with two also, but they are split apart. So that's pretty much it. Now what would I give this 2012 BMW 328i out of 10? I gotta say, I like it a lot actually. I like the exterior. I like the interior. It is a bit boring. The engine performs really well, but the sound is just disappointing for a 328i. Anything else that I don't like? I don't like this ashtray over here. When you open it up, it just looks like it's getting stuck there, and I don't think they designed it in a good manner. Overall, I think I'd give this car a good 7.5 out of 10, which I think is pretty generous. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe, and please stay tuned for more, because I've got some good things coming up.